honestly, November 5th is going to be the most important day in the history of our country. I really believe that. So Nevada, get out and vote. We win this state, we're going to win the whole thing. We win this, we're going to win the whole thing.
Former President Trump rallying in Las Vegas last night, telling voters that a victory in Nevada could be the key to the White House. And while Trump lost the state in the last two election cycles, the latest polls have them virtually tied. Jesus Marquez is a Las Vegas political consultant and the spokesman for a Latino coalition that backs Trump. And he joins us now. Welcome, Jesus. It's great to have you on. So the number in Nevada that I have is 54 Harris, 41 Trump. Do you think that there is a chance that Trump could overtake Harris in Nevada with Hispanics?
Oh, absolutely. Now, the number you mentioned is on Latinos, Hispanics. Remember,
yes.
When was the last time a Republican candidate got over 40% or even over 30% of the Latino vote? And Donald Trump is doing exactly that. Absolutely, we can take Nevada, and Latinos will be a big part of that. And it's because Latinos are hurting, just like any other Americans. And Donald Trump is the solution for that.
So let's talk really quick about immigration, because immigration is such an interesting topic with Latinos, because I think Democrats thought when they opened the border that this was a positive for Hispanics, that they would win Hispanics over because they would be able to paint anybody who wanted to control immigration as a racist or somebody who's anti-immigrant. Why has illegal immigration been actually a driver towards Trump for Hispanics?
Oh, that's because when Latinos look at what's happening at the border, we don't like it. We don't like the fact that in the last 3.5 years, more than 10 million, even some people say over about 20 million undocumented people have come in across, jumping the line, taking services, social services that never were offered to other Hispanics. And now Latinos, who are the working class of America, or at least part of the working class of America, are paying for those services. They don't like the fact that the border is wide open. And they see that the cost of this of being Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. That's the reality.
So you rightfully pointed to the number one issue facing Hispanics, who, as you rightly say, are solidly part of the working class in America. Hispanic Americans care about inflation. Kamala Harris was offered a chance to answer a question about inflation and what she would do about it at the debate. And then if you were watching our show, you just saw that there's a local reporter in Pennsylvania who also asked her about it, and she didn't answer. She started talking about her lawn and her mom. What kind of reaction will Hispanics have to that kind of evasion to something that so directly impacts their lives?
Well, Rachel, is because Kamala Harris is dodging the question because she's the cause of inflation. And yes, this is absolutely affecting Latino families in America. You know, the working class, including Hispanics, we are working, just to put food on the table, to get our kids to college, to open a small business, to buy our new home. And all those things have been, just taken away because of inflation. The cost of living is way up to the roof. And all this is because of the high spending of the government. What Kamala Harris done in the last 3.5 years has affected this tremendously. And we don't like that. We want to have the same economy that we had when Donald Trump was in office, where everything was really good. And that part of that is also the border. You know, when you have millions of undocumented people coming across the border, taking the jobs of other Latinos, that's another thing.
Yeah.
You know, these people are competing with Hispanics, not with other groups. So definitely not good for the Latino community.
Yeah. You know, Cesar Chavez understood that way back in the day. He would say he did not want illegal immigration because he said it was going to drive the wages down of Hispanic Americans. That's happening right now, and you're right to point that out. Jesus Marquez, thanks for joining us this morning, and we'll see what happens in Nevada. It's going to be a clincher.
One last thing, tax on taps and no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. That's going to also benefit Latinos. So we look forward for that too.
Yeah, that is a great issue for Nevada specifically. Great point. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you.
You got it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.